Hi, my name's Kevin Sheff, and I'm the Retriever Coach. I want to thank you for joining me and allowing me to share my expertise and experience with you. It's my goal to help you reach your full potential as a trainer and handler and to be competitive in whatever discipline you choose. The purpose of this webinar is to provide the tools you need to successfully run blinds. They include understanding how to evaluate a blind, how to develop an effective plan to run the blind, and the mindset that's required for success. Joining me for our discussion today are three of my coaching clients, Kelly Hall, Karen Stewart, and Kelsey Weir. All of them train their own retrievers and have been successful competing in hunt test and field trials alike. All right, let's get to it. So the blind we're going to be using for our discussion is shown here in blue. It's 325 yards long, crosses a previously run set of marks, and has the following characteristics. Go ahead with that video, Kelsey. An obstacle on the initial line, a steeply sloping hillside that falls off to the right in the first third of the blind, 150-yard long land entry into a corner of a pond, a keyhole in front of the first piece of water, heavy cover in the keyhole, a re-entry into a second piece of water, a 12-mile-an-hour crosswind blowing left to right, areas en route to the blind where the dog will be out of sight, and finally, the blind runs across a previously run marking test and past an old fall. Go ahead with that slide A, Kelsey, thank you. Just let everybody have a look at that again. All right, thank you, Kelsey. So the first thing that you're going to do when it comes to running any blind, whether it's at a field trial, a hunt test, or in training, is assess the blind. That's super important. I see most people go back to their truck, just grab their dog after they've had a quick look at the blind and say, hey, let's go, let's do it. And the problem with that is people are totally ill prepared and they end up just failing the blind, not seeing what the pitfalls are, not ready to address any of the behaviors that come up. So it's super important to get out there and assess the blind before you run. And for me, that's a 5-step process. The first step in the process is mapping out the blind. And so I get a piece of paper out, or I encourage my coaching clients to get a piece of paper out, draw a straight line on it to start. And now you've got a reference point to start putting in different landmarks, key landmarks that you're going to use to help you understand what's en route to the blind. I've done a little pre-work here. I've put in the two ponds. I've put in the keyhole. That's these two trees right here in front of the water, and some more trees. And I've also added the little piece of cover that's up front that's going to deflect the dogs. I think we could also add in where the old falls were. We had an old fall in this area right here from the previous marking test. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. We had another old fall out here in this area. And let me just look. I think that's about it. I think I've got pretty much everything in that I want to add in as far as landmarks are concerned. The next thing that you're going to do after you map out the blind is start to identify the factors that are in the blind. The factors are the things that push or pull the dog offline to the left or right of the line to the blind. If you don't know what's there, you won't know how to deliver information to your dog appropriately so that they get moving in the right direction when you stop to give them a calf. So, Kelly, I'm going to ask you first. Can you identify some of the factors en route to this blind that are going to affect the dog?
The factors online to this blind is definitely suction from those two old falls.
Gotcha. So we have suction, pulling the dog to the right in these areas here. I'm going to get a different color pen. I don't think that's showing up very well. So we have suction from the two old falls. Can you identify any others, Kelly? Another one?
Right. So Kevin, I was making a few notes. Did you talk about the wind? Because the wind
Yes.
going to affect the dogs on a blind, certainly of this length.
And it's blowing from left to right. So, and it does affect the dog the entire course of the blind, and it's blowing at 12 miles an hour, which is a pretty stiff wind. Any others?
Yes, I believe that keyhole is a factor in it, because the dogs are going to kind of see that as possibly a wall and want to go one direction or the other.
Okay. So they could be going this way or this way. The shoreline, I think that is true. This shoreline is angling away. We're definitely going to see dogs wanting to go in that direction along the shoreline, run down the shore, take less water in this area here.
So the cover at the beginning is going to shoot them right, and the slope of the land is to the right.
That's correct. So we have a little bit of cover here. We do, if you were able to look at that, and I think I can pull that up. Kelsey, would you put up slide B, please, for me for a second? I think we can look at here. You can see the tree, and there's some pretty stiff cover right on line to the blind, and that will deflect the dog to the right. And the other thing that you can see in the slide is that, at least you can see it a little, is that the terrain slopes pretty hard to the right. It doesn't appear quite as so in this picture, but I can tell you from being in this location that there's a pretty hard slope from left to right. And the dogs have to hang on to that hill, and a dog that isn't fighting that factor is going to fall off to the right. So yeah, we have this hillside that's pushing the dog in this direction as well. I think the other factors that I see existing are, again, this